Hey, what's going on, everybody? Ship here. So it's Titan Day today. So let's get into it right away. Let's start with Striker. Three grenades as usual: uh, flashbang, pulse grenade, and lightning grenade. The two most viable ones, in my opinion, are flashbang. So this guy right here, and lightning grenade. So these guys are both really, really powerful. That's not to say that the pulse grenade isn't powerful. I just find that the effect that these guys will give off is much higher, much higher impact. So flashbang will literally blind all of your enemies. So ain't nothing wrong with that. And then the lightning grenade is basically like a skewer that sends out lightning bolts. So it's great for PvP and PvE. So if you're playing Control, you're playing Trials, you stick one right onto a ghost. It's pretty deadly. So people generally will stick away from these guys because they know what will happen if they stick around too long. So those are the two that I would recommend for PvE and PvP. But it's for you to try them out and mess around and see what you're most comfortable with. So we move on to lift. So pretty basic, same thing. Mess around, see what you like best. I run with increased height onto Fist of Havoc. So I'm a big fan of Shockwave. I find it's a lot more forgiving than some of the other two here. So for Death from Above and Aftermath, I find a lot of time Aftermath can be a little underwhelming because there's times where you're running at people and if you're a split second off, you completely miss your smash, get no kills, and then just get murdered. Whereas I find the Shockwave, if you jump a half second too early and basically because it sends out that wave of energy. It's more forgiving because you're more likely to get extra kills, and it's also more likely to send your opponents on the defensive. So they'll be running off instead of moving towards you, shooting at you. So you have a second to be able to pop up and have your gun out and ready to shoot at them if you've missed them. So, but hopefully that's not the case. But same thing, mess around with these. Death from Above is pretty sweet. Flying over the top right into a bubble, killing 3-4 guys at once is pretty nice. So whatever you feel most comfortable with. Move on to Stormfist. So there's some pretty cool perks here that you can mess around with. Hits with Stormfist have a chance to immediately reset its cooldown, so ain't nothing wrong with that. Discharge hits with Stormfist deal area of effect damage around the target. So that would actually be pretty nice in PvE. PvP, I probably wouldn't run with it because chances are if you're surrounded by 2 or 3 guys and you punch one of them, you may damage the two beside it, but chances are they'll take you out. So it's for this reason I normally will run Amplify. Kills with Stormfist significantly reduce the cooldown of Fist of Havoc. So having high intellect plus Amplify, it doubles up your super energy. So you're pretty sweet moving forward if you're punching guys in the head, and you'll get your super much quicker. So onto the Codex. So same theme as the last two characters. My armor is always jacked up. So Codex 1 and 4 is what I run to have max armor. And then so for the super perk, you can go with Headstrong, Aftershocks, and then Transfusion. So I like to run Headstrong. Momentum is a huge part of this game, so this can really help a lot of times with getting a bit extra distance, and couple that with the Shockwave, you can get plenty of kills. But Aftershocks is great if you're running Aftermath, so that's probably, if you're going to run Aftermath, I'd probably recommend to run Aftershocks. And then Transfusion, kills with Stormfist or Shoulder Charge, trigger health regen. So really similar to the Scorch melee with on the Warlock. So you'll regen your health right away when you kill someone. So it's pretty wicked. But I find that Headstrong has helped me a lot more than the other two perks, so that's why I run with that. And then the final tree is the either Unstoppable, Shoulder Charge, or Juggernaut. So first thing you'll notice on these two is that my armor is decreased. So when I am running Unstoppable, I have increased armor. So that's really nice to run just to get that extra armor. It's nice in Trials and in other PvE content. But Shoulder Charge is, as we know, a lot of fun to run. So I normally will go between these two. Juggernaut, I very rarely will ever run it. I just find it's kind of useless to have a little shield in front of you. And it may help you once in a while, but I just find that these two other perks are too deadly not to take advantage of. So that's the striker class. Let's move on to defender. So the bubble bro. So this one here, the way that I have it set up currently is for a PvE. This is more of a PvE build. There's a couple of changes that I'd make if I were to be running bubble in PvP. So the magnetic grenade is wicked because you can stick people. The spike grenade, similar to the lightning grenade, where it sends out bursts of energy or void light in this case. But the suppressor grenade's too deadly. So you can actually take away someone's super. Like say a golden gun pops right around the corner. You throw the suppressor grenade. Any of that field hits them, the super is gone. So it is really helpful against really powerful enemies. So keep that in mind. Same thing, mess around, but the suppressor is definitely my favorite. For jump, same thing. Can't blink, so you might as well get really high. So increased height. Move on to the Ward of Dawn. So for PvP, you're probably going to want to run Armor of Light or Blessing of Light. Armor of Light is a lot better for you. So if you're the type of defender that's going to pop this on B and take on enemies who are daring enough to run into your bubble, then run Armor of Light. But if you're more team oriented, you want to pop the bubble to get some orbs for your teammates, especially if you're running a Crest of Alpha Loopy, which will give you extra orbs. Blessing of Light works really nicely as well because everyone will have a shield after they've come out of that bubble, so it just makes you guys much harder to kill. Weapons of Light is fantastic in PvE. Anyone who's done Atheon knows how clutch a weapons bubble can be at the back of the platform, but it's probably not too helpful in PvP. So keep that in mind. But hey, if you run Weapons of Light in PvP with your buddies and you find that it helps getting kills, then hey, keep doing it, right? So that's all that matters. So we run on to Disintegrate. So there's a couple things: War Machine, Gift of Light, and Unbreakable. I find Gift of Light for PvE is one of the best perks to have because when your force barrier is charged up and you've hit an enemy, for the duration of your force barrier, each kill will generate an orb of light. So that's great for helping out the teammates. Just supers for days, which is wicked. So War Machine is all right. If you're running Armor of Light in PvP, chances are you'll want to run War Machine. It'll just align with your play style, so you can reload that shotgun extra quick. So probably run War Machine in PvP if you're running Armor of Light. And then finally, Unbreakable. Force barrier continually recharges, so it'll help the duration, or like the time between aka your cooldown between having your force barrier up. So onto the Codex, same deal. Max Codex, max armor always. So we'll move on to the options you have for your bubble. So Bastion is great for PvP. It's good for PvE as well, in situations where you really need that extra time inside the bubble. But I really, really like to run, in PvE at least, Gift of the Void. As that bubble takes damage, so as those enemies are shooting at you within the bubble, you're going to generate another 3 orbs for your fire team. So I find that super helpful. And then if you couple that with Iron Harvest, heavy weapon kills have a chance to create orbs of light for your allies. So if you're running a Blessing of Light for your team, giving everybody overshields, with force barrier making orbs, and with machine gun kills making orbs, you can just be an absolute orb beast. So for your fire team, it's pretty epic. So people say that Titans can't generate a lot of orbs. I would challenge them in their thinking, because it's not the case at all. I like to run Untouchable, and you'll notice increased armor. So that alone for me is generally good enough. Then the final perk, Illuminated, increases the benefits granted by Blessing of Light and Weapons of Light. So that's pretty epic. But I find just being able to either make orbs or having increased armor is a little more helpful than the final perk. But it's up for you to pick what's best for you in your gameplay. So I hope this has helped. If you guys enjoyed, please drop a like, and I'll catch you guys soon. Cheers.